Although cryptozoology is not considered a real science, it's based on the sciences of zoology and paleontology. Many cryptids probably don't exist, but there is a high possibility that others do. In this video we count down 5 cryptids that could exist. Batsquatch is a flying cryptid that was allegedly sighted near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. It resembles a flying primate and its name is derived from the words bat and Sasquatch. This creature was said to have yellow eyes, a wolf-like muzzle, blue-tinted fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet and leathery bat-like wings that span up to 50 feet. In addition, Batsquatch is said to be 9 feet tall and has the ability to affect car engines. This is possibly a misunderstood sighting of Mothman, considering it also affected man-made things. On April 1994, Brian Canfield was driving in Washington's Pierce County when his truck suddenly died. Canfield said a large creature landed in front of him. He said it was human-like, 9 feet tall with bat wings and also sported a coat of blue fur. Ever since then it's not been seen and skeptics dismiss it as a hoax, although a possible second sighting was reported in 2009 near Mount Shasta in California. Several hikers witnessed a huge creature with leathery wings fly out of a crevice in the mountain. At first an eyewitness described the creature as having a head similar to a pterosaur. On July 2011, a man was in his yard walking his dog. He went to pick the dog up when he saw something in the sky. He said the following: "I saw something flying in the sky. It had bat wings, blue fur and a face similar to glowing red eyes. It was about 9 feet tall at the least, and I watched it until it flew away." On April 14, 2014, a school Spanish class spotted a giant black mass zip across the window of the classroom at incredible speed. The class claims it was around 10 feet tall with a 20 to 30 foot wingspan. Cressy is a mysterious eel-like creature which is said to lurk in the depths of Crescent Lake in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. The creature was first reported in ancient Native American legends, in which it was referred to as a pond devil. It was feared by the local residents of the lakeside, but reports of it by the settlers only began in the 20th century. In the 1950s, 2 men saw what they thought was an upturned boat heading upward, but upon approaching it, it flipped itself upside down and dived below the lake. In the 80s, a pilot crashed in Crescent Lake, and while 2 scuba divers attempted to retrieve his body, they were attacked by a school of giant eels, and were forced to retreat. Other sightings have included an incident in July 1991, when a Cressy was seen swimming on the lake surface, and in the summer of 2003 when a woman named Vivian saw the creature swimming again. She described the creature as a serpentine-like animal with a head of a fish. The Hellhound is a supernatural canine found in folklore. Sometimes known as black dogs, a wide variety of hellish supernatural dogs occur in mythologies around the world, similar to the dragon. Features that have been attributed to hellhounds include black fur, glowing red eyes or sometimes glowing yellow eyes, super strength, speed and ghostly characteristics. Legend says that if someone is to stare into the eyes 3 or more times, the person will definitely die. In cultures that associate the afterlife with fire, hellhounds may have fire-based abilities and appearances. They're often assigned to guard the entrances to the world of the dead, such as graveyards and burial grounds, or undertake other duties related to the afterlife or the supernatural, such as hunting lost souls or guarding a supernatural treasure. In European legends, seeing a hellhound or hearing it howl may either be an omen of death or even a cause of death. There is said to be a different breed of hellhound thought to roam, mostly in Kentucky. It's said to have blackish fur and mane running halfway down its back and large paws that look similar to a black bear's front paws. It's also said to wreak havoc on livestock. Mantis Man is a bug-like creature that's been reported in New Jersey. This cryptid mostly resembles a praying mantis. The Mantis Man has been featured on Monsters and Mysteries in America. The odd thing about the 2 sightings that were present is the fact that both men were out fishing, and saw it near a body of water. Praying mantises don't usually spend their times in water. They usually spend their times on leaves and in forests, though mantises may be able to swim in shallow water. With its huge size, it can touch the bottom of the river without its whole body drifting away through the current. In all of the reports, the Mantis Man doesn't harm anyone. It's likely afraid of the people who encounter it because it always seems to run away when they get close to it. Unlike the two on Monsters and Mysteries in America, there was in fact another sighting of the Mantis Man. The police report tells that another person, Mr. Stickler, saw the Mantis Man in a riverbank. He said the following: "I saw something strange on a river near my home in New Jersey. I was driving home from the drugstore, and as I drove near the bridge over the river, I noticed to my left something standing in the river just off the south bank. I slowed the car and looked closer. It wasn't a person, and it was transparent-like with a weird shape. It moved slowly across the bank and into the trees. I drove further so I could see it coming out of the trees, and that's the last I saw of it. It was around 8 feet or so and had long thin arms hanging out of it. The colour was a pale brown, but I could see through it. The head was small compared to the body. It was sunny that day, so I thought it might be glare from the water, but after I thought back I realised I wasn't seeing a mirage or a glare. I checked the internet and didn't see anything about it. I mentioned it to a co-worker in my office. He gave me the strangest look and got up a forum with the Mantis Man witnesses. Many people have reported seeing the same thing. People claim that the Mantis Man may have been an experiment gone wrong, and someone who couldn't control it just set it free near a river. It may have been a mutation in a breeding situation. Some people speculate there is more than just one of these mantises roaming around. The reason why most people think it's a giant mantis instead of being something else is because it looks and does the things that mantises do, including camouflage, spreading its wings and the thin arms. Owlman is the name given to a large owl-like creature similar to the Mothman. It lives in Cornwall, England, and has been sighted several times. The first sighting took place in 1976 in the village of Mornan. The story began when paranormal researcher Tony Shields was approached by a man called Mr. Melling, who had been visiting the area on holiday from Lancaster. Melling said that on April 17, 1976, his 2 daughters were walking through the woods near Mornan Church when they saw a large winged creature hovering above the church tower. The girls were frightened and immediately ran to their father. According to Shields, the family became so disturbed by the sighting they'd abandoned their holiday 3 days early, and that the father would not allow either of his daughters to be interviewed. Shields was however provided with a drawing of the creature made by the 12-year-old. On July the 3rd, 14-year-old Sally Chapman was camping with her friend Barbara Perry in the woods near the church. According to her account, as she stood outside her tent, she heard a hissing sound and turned to see a figure that looked like an owl as big as a man, with pointed ears and red eyes. The girls reported that the creature flew up into the air, revealing black pincer-like claws. Sightings of this figure continued to be reported on the following day, and on 2 occasions 2 years later in June and August 1978, all within the vicinity of this church. Because both of the 1970s sightings involve Shields, an eccentric with a fondness for hoaxes, researcher Jonathan Dowles acknowledges that Shields could have invented the Owlman. However, Downes claims to have interviewed a young man, who he calls Gavin, who encountered the Owlman in 1989. Gavin and his girlfriend claimed to have seen a creature that was around 5 feet tall. The legs had high ankles and the feet were large and black with 2 huge toes on the visible side. The creature was grey and the eyes definitely glowed. In 1995, a female tourist from Chicago wrote to the Western Morning News in Toro, claiming to have seen a man-bird with a ghastly face, a wide mouth, glowing eyes and pointed ears as well as clawed wings. Many of these encounters sound similar to the Mothman. Mothman is described as a bipedal winged humanoid. Despite his name, which was given to him by the newspapers, he is in no way moth-like. His coloration varies from black grey to even brown, although it's usually the darker shades. He's often reported to be about 7 feet tall with a wingspan of around 10 to 15 feet or more, plus the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour. Sometimes he's described as not having a head, but instead 2 huge red eyes that are set in the chest. These eyes are reported to be glowing or at least reflective. The details of his face and feet have never been described. One witness who saw the face clearly could only say the details were horrible and monstrous. She had terrible nightmares and nearly suffered a nervous breakdown. Anyone who gets a close look at the Mothman seems to suffer from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or years afterwards. In particular, people say that a sense of pure evil overcomes them when they see the Mothman's eyes. He can fold his wings and walk, and many witnesses compare the walk to a penguin. When he flies, he unfolds his wings and shoots straight up with great speed, then levels out to go wherever he wants to go. He's rarely observed flapping his wings except for takeoff. Witnesses often describe his flight pattern as straight up like a helicopter. He can fly much faster than any bird should be able to fly, as measured by those victims who suffered from what seems to be Mothman's favourite activity, chasing cars. He'll fly in front of them and even sometimes hit at the roof. So that was 5 cryptids. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.